Thanks for tuning into our seller interview series. Today we've got an Amazon FBA business for sale in the health and personal care niche. This Amazon FBA business also has an e-commerce website which was built back in 2001, but the Amazon FBA business itself has been around since March 2015. This business makes $12,449 per month in net profit, and the listing number for this business is 40838. Now, we do these interviews to give the potential buyers more information about both the seller and the sites they're looking to purchase. We hope these insights are helpful for you in making a buying decision. We got the seller with us today to go through the business, cover everything from niche selection to traffic and monetization. Thanks for coming on, Chris.
Hey, thanks for having me. It's great to be here.
Yeah, man. Before we dive into the questions here, just to give a summary of the business, and there's quite a lot to talk about here, so a summary of the business for everyone. As I mentioned, the e-commerce portion of this business was built back in 2001, but the Amazon FBA business has been live and running since March 2015, has a monthly revenue of $35,211, expenses sitting at $22,762 for that total net profit of $12,449. That is over a 12-month average. And with the sell, there's quite a lot that will come with this. There's 3 brand TLDs, a .com.au, .co.nz, and a .co.uk, as long with 2 brand misspelled TLDs and 1 brand TLD with the .com, that is the main site, as well as 2 keyword-rich domains for SEO purposes. You will also get the Aweber account, which has 1,800 subscribers, the Shopify store, which includes the database of over 9,000 previous customers with trademarks in the USA, Canada, and Australia, with UK VAT registrations and EORI for the company. You will also get the social media accounts such as the Twitter, Facebook, Pinterest, and Instagram, and the Amazon seller accounts, the USA active and brand registered, UK and Europe is just set up, which is currently inactive, but the brand is registered, as well as Japan, which was active in the past but inactive currently, and the Google account, which has all the analytics, AdWords, Search Console, and all that good stuff. So with all that said, Chris, can you tell us a little bit about your background in building and running online businesses? Obviously, this one started quite a while ago. Was this your first one? Have you had others since?
Great question. No, this is actually the only online business that I've built personally. I did work in a digital agency for about 7.5 years during the late 2000s and into I think up to about 2013. So I was lucky enough to work with some really big e-commerce brands like Rip Curl and quite a few domestic Australian e-commerce companies too. So yeah, but for me, this is always, typically it was a part-time business while I was working full-time from about 2001 through to about 2013. And then as a family, we actually moved to Hong Kong and I was able to leave my job. And while I was in Hong Kong, able to secure some great supplier relationships, obviously China just being across the border, and decided to build out the business and turn it into a lifestyle business, because the last thing I wanted to do when we came back to Australia was to work for someone else again. And this business has been fantastic, really, now that it's ticking along really beautifully.
That's great, man. So how did you come up with the idea for this business? Without giving away the niche or anything like that, was it more something that you were passionate or interested in, or was it something more along the lines of like doing competitive research and you happened to find a gap in the market you could fill?
It's another fantastic question, Gregory. It's a combination of the both, really. So the reason why it first started way back in 2001 was because that I had a need. I was working in a particular type of job, and I had a need for a solution to a problem that I was experiencing while I wasn't working, when I was at home. And so, trying to keep a long story very short, I was able to create a product that helped, and there were some friends of mine that were interested in it too, and I realized that there was probably something in this idea. This is, mind you, going way back to 1992 through to 1994, but it wasn't until the internet, because back then there really wasn't much of an internet at all, but e-commerce really started rearing its head around 1999 during the .com boom, and I just decided that the product it's quite lightweight, and I decided to make it properly and sell it online, and got into the e-commerce game there. It didn't start too well, just because I didn't really know what I was doing, but I quickly learned a bit about SEO. And then in 2002, Google released Google AdWords, so I was able to sort of learn how that worked, and that drove a lot of traffic. But before long, there was a lot of traffic and some good sales coming through. And yeah, so fast forward though, up until around about 2013, and I decided to redevelop the product completely and launched it on Kickstarter and had a reasonably successful campaign there where we launched about $110,000. And then from there, that was when, it was pretty clear that it had legs and that it had been validated, particularly the new version of this product. And then from there, we consolidated through 2014 and then launched on Amazon in 2015. And that's gone pretty well as well. That makes up maybe 60% of the total revenue per month or thereabouts.
Excellent. Now, for someone that might not be too familiar with e-commerce or Amazon FBA, and maybe this is one of the first online businesses they're really looking at, could you just briefly describe, maybe in a couple sentences, how this business primarily makes its money?
Sure. At the moment, all the products that I have, bar one, which I'm just waiting to sell out of it and then drop it as a product. It was a classic private label disaster. But all of the other products that I have, which should be 3 to 4 other products, are all proprietary. So they're all products that I've created in a niche, some of which have virtually no competition at all, but quite really respectable demand for those products. So that's how we've sort of forged ahead, and we've grown our revenue basically by, I guess, a little bit of product development. And I think if someone out there really enjoys a little bit of tinkering and coming up with ideas around how to sort of expand on this particular range and this particular niche, I've got some ideas, which I'm happy to talk to a potential buyer about. But that's sort of how we've been able to sort of grow and expand our business in a modest but careful way with very little risk.
So let me ask you this. The business has been around for a while and is making a pretty healthy net profit. Why are you selling the business? Why not keep it and grow it?
Good question. Well, first of all, I've been running it for a really long time, and I think I'm starting to, I wouldn't say lose enthusiasm for it, but I think I really enjoy starting companies up and getting them going. And when it comes to sort of more the day-to-day operational side of the company, there's not that much to do, and I do have an assistant that does most of the sort of the customer service and other, sort of day-to-day tasks. But I'm not really an operational sort of personality type. I really enjoy the excitement of building something and getting something off the ground. And, I've got some projects that I'm really excited about working on currently, and hope to get involved with some other projects during this year, 2017. So, yeah, I think, that's probably about as answer as I can provide.
Good. So you're planning on basically taking this capital and putting it into other businesses you want to kind of grow and see what you can do with. Is that about correct?
That is correct, yes. And also, there's a lot of, again, being completely frank and honest, is that there's a lot of capital, I guess, or value tied up in this business. And at my age, and I'm a little, I'm getting on in sort of early 50s, I think it's probably time just to bank a little bit, to be honest, and then, sort of move into the next sort of phase. Yeah. So hope that makes sense. And yeah.
So when you first started this, let's focus on, the Amazon FBA side here. When you first started the Amazon FBA, what was the trajectory of the business? Did you see that you got customers kind of coming in right away once it went live on Amazon, or did it take a while?
No, it did happen straight away. Mainly because the brand is pretty well known and people were already searching for the brand on the Amazon platform. So I think the first day that we launched, there was 4 sales for about $240. And before, in a couple of weeks, we were sort of running, sort of selling close to $700 to $1,000 a day. So yeah, it took off pretty well, and it certainly didn't need any of the promotions that everybody talks about with an Amazon FBA
That's
type,
awesome.
Sort of product launch. It just went, and I think I've only ever done 2 launches. One didn't work very well. This is a product that I'm going to drop, but for another product they released midway through last year, the launch, I think I gave away 40 units, ranked on page 1 straight away. In fact, went to number 1 for my main keywords, and haven't looked back with that. So it's been pretty straightforward.
Excellent. So is there anything you learned from this business in particular? I'm sure you learned a ton of things in the length of running this business, but is there any one thing that you can really look at and say that worked really, really well? And if so, what was it?
Well, I think that probably the biggest lesson that I've learned, particularly with the Amazon FBA side of things, and to a lesser extent with the website and the e-commerce sales, but certainly with Amazon, I think I've been caught out a few times with the amount of demand that has come through and how fast things can take off. So, look, again, I'm not, as an Amazon business, it's not a particularly monstrous business by any stretch. However, I've always been quite surprised by how fast stock will move. And I tend to, look, I mix things up in terms of shipping, but, the biggest issue has been just staying in stock. And that's, I think, the profitability of the business, it wouldn't be double, but it'd certainly be closer to maybe $15,000 to $16,000 a month in net revenue over the last 12 months had I stayed in stock with my main products throughout 2016. And even through January, I'd lost one of my main products, which is now back in stock. So staying in stock, I think, is probably the biggest sort of lesson that I've learned. And I think that with someone that's got a little bit of capital, and they'll be able to, I still have some stock to sort of sell with the company, I guess. But that's the biggest sort of takeaway and probably the biggest opportunity. If you've got a bit of capital and you can remain in stock, you'll do really well.
I guess that kind of answers my next question, where I was going to ask, what have you tried that didn't work or you wish you hadn't done that?
Look, I think, I tried launching a generic Me Too product on Amazon thinking that it would be complementary to my proprietary products that I've created, and that was just an absolute abject failure. So,
harsh.
It's been awful. But it's no big deal. I'm going to get my money back. I mean, I think that's the great thing about Amazon FBA is that, if you, basically you can sell things at pretty much cost plus a little bit, and you'll end up with your money back on what you put in. So, it hasn't been a complete disaster by any stretch. But, I think the other thing to mention though as well is that I think I'm skipping ahead here, Greg, I'm sorry. But I think in terms of opportunities, the website has incredible domain strength, and, so I'm a bit slack when it comes to content creation, particularly on the blog. And the blog does inherit a lot of the authority from the principal main domain, as it is a subfolder. So pretty much anything that you write about in the blog will rank on Google pretty quickly. And if someone out there has the content chops, or they've got some people that can write some great content, I think you could be really growing the traffic massively.
Definitely. We're about to talk about traffic earnings. This is actually a great segue. Do you find that you're getting a lot of organic traffic to that e-commerce store right now that's been helping your product, or has it mainly been like Amazon organic traffic? Where has your traffic really been coming from?
So most of the traffic is from SEO traffic, so organic Google search traffic. In fact, I can give you a quick breakdown of the last 12 months. 45% is from organic search and about 23% is from paid search. So that's from Google Ads mainly. In fact, pretty much all of it except for a little bit of Bing Ads, which is negligible. The rest is the balance is made up of direct and a little bit of social and some referral traffic, given that the site has quite a few links pointing at it, and a little bit from email. And I think that's another opportunity as well, is that I very, very rarely do I email my customers, usually when I'm about to launch a new version of a product or a new product that I've created that, is about to launch.
And how stable are the earnings of your store? I know you mentioned this, you were trying out a new product or whatever, and now you're moving back to an older product, but in general, are the earnings pretty stable, or is there any kind of seasonality to the business?
So there's clearly, it is quite a gifty type. Most of the products that I have are quite giftable, if that's even a word. And
that's a great word. If it isn't, it should be a word.
I think I'm going to trademark it straight away. But so over Christmas it does go berserk or bananas or crazy. Yeah, there's
all sorts of idioms.
Whatever else I can think of. But it goes crazy over the Christmas period, really from Black Friday or whatever is it Black Friday or Cyber Monday? Yeah, around there.
Black Friday and Cyber Monday, both of them are pretty big.
The usual sort of online retail craziness that you'd expect. And the same for the website too. There's a lot of kind of conversion pressure at that time of the year when people are looking to get a present or a gift for a loved one. And so that's pretty cool. And then it's reasonably strong typically through January, February and March. And then particularly on Amazon, it starts to fall away probably from about Easter each year. And then so May, June, July, August are generally a bit quieter. But overall, it's reasonably steady and it's fairly predictable each year. It's there's that by April that sales are probably going to fall away by maybe 20 or 30%, and I think you can see that in the earnings and some of the charts that I presented. So
Now, you mentioned content on like, say, the blog of your site. Are you still adding content to that site? And so how much content are you adding on a monthly basis?
Very little. I think the last time that I did any kind of SEO landing page content piece was back in November, maybe mid-November. Yeah. So I've just been really busy and tied up and, I've been working on some other projects, but yeah, not as much as I should. That's for sure. Again, I think it's a massive opportunity for someone with a bit of enthusiasm and get in there and really take advantage of the strength of a domain that's been around for 17 years and, has quite a few thousand links pointing at it. And it's a very clean backlink profile. I think there was only ever one penalty lodged against the site by Google, which was way back in 2003, just after I'd started, maybe a year or two after. And got my SEO chops and thought that I could rank for everything and, pushed it too hard and copped an over-optimization penalty. Got bounced down to about position 50, de-optimized the homepage, and within the next Google dance, I don't know if anybody even remembers what the Google dance was, but, within 4 weeks I was back again and I've never had a problem since. So,
nice.
Again, just being totally transparent, yeah.
Yeah, speaking of those opportunities, so let's pretend you're going to keep the business and you want to grow it. What would be the least risky path you'd focus on, and what would be the most risky path? Like, say, for the least risky path, you're just focused on growth, but for the most risky path, you're looking to grow the business as quickly as possible.
The least riskiest path in the short term would be just to consolidate what's there and stay in stock and leverage a little bit more of the opportunities around content and email marketing. There's no doubt. I think that, when I do occasionally launch email out to my subscribers, sales really pick up. It's just that I tend not to want to pepper my subscribers with previous customers with too many emails. And again, that's pretty haphazard. Maybe once a quarter, I might send an email out, and half the time most people have forgotten who I am. And then, so email and content for sure. Yeah.
And what was the most risky?
I think the most risky would be, gosh, I can't think of anything that would be super risky other than maybe spending up a huge amount of money on, sort of creating a new product and not really sure if it's going to work, and you haven't done your homework and you launch it and, it's not received very well, and, you can end up with a lot of stock and a lot of problems. So, yeah, it's hard to say. I can't really, it's a very low risk business at the moment, so. And I've always been pretty conservative in terms of the way that I've rolled out products and, run the show so that it stays fairly stable. I need to. I'm living off it, so I've got to pay people.
Of course. Speaking of those risks, what do you think the biggest risk is to a business like this a buyer should be aware of?
Wow. Well, look, I guess there's lots of external risks. Probably the biggest one I can think of is maybe, obviously getting banned by Amazon for some reason. I don't see why that would happen, but it could happen, as it can to any Amazon seller. And the same goes for Google. So, if there was for some reason some kind of Google penalty, the site's survived without any problems at all. It's just skated through Penguin and Panda without a single problem. So, I can't see what Google would throw at it. I can't really see or envisage any big risks at this stage apart from those two.
Excellent. I agree. Those are big risks, and it is a testament to your site that you survived through all that. Very powerful domain for sure. When it comes to maintaining the site, though, what is your you mentioned this kind of a lifestyle business, but what is your weekly or maybe monthly maintenance you're doing to maintain the business?
Not that much. There's a bit of I have quite a few conversations with my suppliers in China. I have a fantastic agent, I guess, or sourcing agent in China, and she really handles that end to end. So she'll go out to all the factories if I want to make some new component or some new product thing that I'd like to develop, and she'll do a lot of the groundwork there and then come back and hit me with a bill of materials or a cost or a quote. We can kind of work through that and the different quotes that we've been given, and so there's a bit of that going on. The other sort of part of it is probably a little bit of AdWords maintenance, but not much. That's all pretty much at this stage turnkey. So we might spend about $500 to some months, over December, maybe November, we might spend $1,000 a month, and I might be sort of in there just making sure we're not spending up too much and making sure that we're getting a return on our investment. So, we might spend, say, $1,000 on Google ads and we might make $7,000 back in revenue or more. So it's a very profitable AdWords account that has been worked very hard, and I have some great ex-colleagues that were very strong in AdWords, and they've been in there and really worked that. So there's a bit of that going on. Within Amazon itself, there's the usual, customer service side of things, just sort of answering a few customer emails, responding to return requests and things like that, which is fine and normal. The Amazon sponsored ads as well. So there's a bit of time in there just making sure that the ACOS, or the actual cost of sales, is, I think that's what it means, is on track. And we're not, again, I'm very ROI focused, or return on investment focused. I don't like spending too much. If I've got a non-performing keyword or non-performing campaign, I'll tend to sort of pause it or shut it down or review it, whatever. So they're the sort of more the day-to-day kind of things. And there's, obviously there's a few emails that come in too from website inquiries and, that sort of thing. But my assistant, again, I have a virtual assistant, I guess, who handles all of that. And occasionally she'll reach out to me and say, hey, we've had a wholesale inquiry, or we've had somebody, a potential retail partner who wants to sell your products in a store somewhere in Norway or wherever. So, I tend to handle more of the strategy and the negotiation around those sorts of things. Yeah, so.
Excellent. Is your VA coming with the business, or?
I have spoken to her about it. She's fine to work for someone else and with or alongside someone else on a part-time basis. Obviously, I'd like to, if it's possible, to retain her help too with some of the new things that I'm working on. So, I guess we can just sort of work through those.
On a case-by-case basis.
That potentials, yeah.
Is there any skills or requirements you'd suggest the buyer already have before they purchase a business like this? I
think you'd need to know how Amazon works. I know that there's plenty of videos and YouTube and courses and stuff like that about how the Amazon ecosystem and how an Amazon seller account hangs together and, the way that they work. The other thing is probably around having a knowledge of e-commerce would be useful, I think. Just understanding how content works. Email marketing would be really useful. I think one thing I've always wanted to do and never really got around to was sort of setting up sales funnels and maybe looking at something like a ClickFunnels type approach, for some email marketing. And so somebody that's reasonably okay with AdWords, Amazon, e-commerce, knows their way around Shopify. I've done a lot of SOPs or videos of how to do certain tasks, and a lot of those have been shared on Dropbox with my assistant. So typically when she asks me how to do something, or I'm doing the same thing again and again, I'll just record it for 10 minutes in a video and then, just share that with her on Dropbox, and then she can sort of take over that task just to sort of free me up and, so I can spend more time with my kids and all that sort of stuff.
That's the end product of a lifestyle business, right? Do more of the things you want to do, right? So
yeah, it's great.
Moving to some wrap-up questions here. Would you be willing to sign a non-compete with the new buyer saying, like, hey, look, I'm not going to go start this exact same business after you buy it from me?
After 17 years, I can definitely say yes. No problem.
The better part of a decade.
I'll say 100% no problem at all. Yeah.
And how much support would you be willing to offer a buyer?
I forgot what I wrote to you guys a couple of weeks back when this all began. Quite a lot. I think it would be, I'm definitely fine to, depending on crazy time zones and things like that, but if we can work out, appropriate sort of scheduled times each week, day, unlimited email support, I think would be fair to say.
Within reason, of course.
Within reason. I'm not going to be answering emails.
Put that asterisk right there.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. Fair use policy applies. But yeah, a lot, maybe a Skype call a week, or, certainly in the first few days and weeks, perhaps even one a day. I'm, pretty flexible. So, yeah.
Nice, man. Now, obviously the best case scenario here for you and for Empire Flippers is someone comes in and buys this for full list price. But would you at all be open to a split or not, say like 80% up front and then maybe 20% after a portion of the support or training is completed or something along those lines? Would you be open to that?
Of course. Yeah, no problem at all. I'm happy to have some skin in the game post-sale. I mean, I certainly don't want to, sell something to somebody that has, hidden problems or anything like that. Right. So, if there's, if something exploded, I'd want to be there to help. And, I mean, it's not going to happen, but if it did, certainly wouldn't be leaving a buyer high and dry. That's not the way I work.
Definitely. Awesome, man. Well, before I ask you my final question here, just to give a quick recap of the nuts and bolts of this business. It was built in 2001 with the e-commerce store and 2015 for the Amazon FBA store. The monthly revenue is $35,211, expenses $22,762, and net profit $12,449. That is a 12-month average, and you'll also get everything that I mentioned at the top of the show included in that sale with the business. So my final question for you, Chris, is what is your best pitch in 30 seconds or less on why someone should purchase this business?
The pressure.
The pressure. You too.
What am I going to do? What am I going to say? No, look, it's the flagship product basically enjoys no competition. There are seriously no direct competitors at all. There are around about 250,000 to 300,000 people that are actively searching for this product, not only on Amazon, but also on Google.com and other search engines like Yahoo and Bing, etc. After 17 years, it is a very well-known brand. So on AdWords, anywhere I advertise, even on Amazon, the ACOS and the return on investment on brand search terms is very low. So it costs nothing, really, a few cents to get each conversion. So it really is a turnkey business. It enjoys pretty solid margins. The supply chain has been completely ironed out and very solid and stable. And really all the hard work's been done. So it's someone can step into this business and there's plenty of potential in the business to see it continue to grow into the future as well.
Excellent. I think that's a great pitch. So for everyone out there, if you're watching this on YouTube and you want more information, the link will be below this video that would take you to our marketplace listing. If you're watching this on the actual listing page and you want more information, you can become a depositor today. All you have to do is click the button, make a deposit, and you'll be given everything you need to review this business. So Chris, thank you so much for coming on, man. It was an absolute pleasure.
Greg, it's been fun. Thank you very much for letting me talk about myself for the last half an hour.
Yeah, no problem, man. It's been awesome.
Good on you. Thanks.